Nope, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
Just to make
Right.
sure I don't burn this house down because it's a rental and I can't afford that.
Right?
I would highly suggest not burning down rental property. Correct. All right. Well, at this point, while you may be in the shadow of the flower fields, the ball is back in your court as until you are summoned, which is probably going to be a very obvious affair. You are welcome to rest. I don't know. You can just have a little R&R. You know, we can put you through the Emerald City works of getting shined and buffed, and you have access to the spa that's here, and you seem to be on a bit of an all expenses paid. Well, not quite a vacation, but you have time to clean yourselves up before you're summoned back to the mansion.
I think I might do that if I have to. With all the burdens I bear, if I have to deal with them, well then, I'm sure that I look damn fine while doing it.
Now, go ahead, Bright. Make your point.
Oh, I was just gonna say, what time is it? What time of day?
Let's call it 6 p.m.
Okay.
Lovely evening.
Yeah, they're probably not gonna summon us certainly today because it's already so late. So we can probably just relax unless we have some late evening errands to run. But Mordecai says he has enough blood, and I would enjoy taking a bath in running water.
Okay. Running warm water, yeah. That's indulge.
Okay.
All right, now.
I'm definitely okay with this. Bath episode.
What I would like you to do, because for a couple reasons. Number one, you let me play a trick on you during Halloween by putting you through nightmares, and I promised you a treat. And that treat is also going to manifest in the fact that you'll find during your R&R that a package will be delivered to you by Ripol Flowerfield. And it will contain some things that he thinks you might find useful in your search for Tibba. So, you can elect one of you to roll a percentile die, and I will generate a treasure hoard on the 5 to 10 table based on that result. So one of you can roll a percentile.
Who would like to roll the percentile?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
All right. Mordecai's going for it.
100.
Yep, so we all know who to blame when you roll low.
D100, you said, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
44.
Okay. All right. Now I want someone else to roll 2d4.
2d4?
Yep.
Okay. That's a 5.
Amazingly average. Okay.
Very average.
And then I need a third person to roll 1d6.
I'll do it.
Okay.
A 5. All right. So, in this package, there are going to be 5 different art objects, which apparently belong to the Flowerfield estate. We can have them be small things. In fact, we can even say that they are exquisite signet rings made of fine gold and platinum with inlaid gems. And hey, conveniently, you rolled 5, so we'll say each of you has a signet ring with a Flowerfield crest on it that is very fine, and this can presumably act as a... maybe a way to break the ice, or to negotiate, or to invoke something. There weren't instructions that were sent with this. But there are 5 signet, very high quality signet rings with the Flowerfield insignia on it. And now we are going to, you are also going to have 5 different items from Magic Item Table A.
I'm definitely not going to complain about
Let's see. That's some potions and spell scrolls.
potion spell scrolls, and I believe there are a couple of other things.
Yeah, there's 2. I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you a freebie upgrade because I would like you all to have the chance of getting at least a little bit more, getting into wondrous items. So I will give you a free upgrade to Magic Item Table B in this sense. And for each of you then, I want each of you to roll a percentile, and that will determine you don't have to keep it, but that'll determine what gets generated in this treasure parcel. All right, so for Bright, you have a 36. Hey, this is a potion of animal friendship. How I guess coincidental for you. Yeah.
I don't. Okay, I guess we can use that.
Noralai, as you're opening up your Christmas gift here in springtime, you find a bag of dust of disappearance. And conveniently for all of you, this is very well labeled. Next up, Mordecai, you open up your Christmas gift here, and you get a potion of resistance. Fight on, brother.
Does it say what kind of resistance?
That's a D10 to decide, or you can choose.
I guess I'll. Do you have the table open? Oh no, it's just one of the damage types.
Yeah.
I don't have an alphabetical list, but go ahead and roll a D10, and then we'll find a list, or if one of you has one open.
I do have. The
Okay,
list
so
for it,
number 6 on the list.
Number 6, necrotic resistance.
There you go.
That's decent.
That's appropriate, yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
Santa's really on target here, I guess. Jade, you reach into the bag and you pull out, let's see, ammunition +1. So this can be things like stones for slings, or do any of you have crossbows?
I do.
I also do. I have a light crossbow.
Okay. Then unless Jade, if you want something different because this is your pull and your choice, I don't mind. You can go with any kind of ammunition +1. And we'll say
let Lane take it.
okay. So Merry Christmas, Celine. You get 10 crossbow bolts +1.
Okay.
And then lastly, we had, or wait, was that last? Or did I skip over what Celine got?
You haven't
Whoops.
done mine yet. No,
That-
I'll roll the 47.
On a 47, you have a potion of growth. Hello, I couldn't have done this any more perfect.
I am gonna give the potion of growth to Jade.
Okay.
Because I think she can make better use of it, especially since, well, I mean, like, disguise self is good and all, but it can't change your size fact. It can't make you seem like something that's bigger than what you are. So to give her a lot more options,
Yeah.
at least for an hour.
Does anyone want the potion of necrotic resistance?
I like my gift.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I mean, do you already have necrotic resistance?
I'm already set.
Okay. Well, I mean, animal friendship. I mean, you could already talk to beasts and beasts, right? Can't you? Right?
Oh, I can talk to them if they're cute enough.
If they're cute enough. Okay. Well, why don't we do an exchange there?
Well,
Anyway, I don't see
Mordecai?
myself doing this one.
yeah, that one's not useful to you. It almost seems like maybe ammunition and Celine should have the potion of necrotic resistance.
Yeah.
Doesn't that seem?
Yeah. Do you have a crossbow or?
Yeah, I have a light crossbow.
Yeah. Well then, if you want, I'll take the potion of necrotic resistance, and you can have the ammunition.
Sure.
And then we'll leave that at that. So I'll take the potion of necrotic resistance.
Cool.
Okay, and now I get to roll. And it seems like at the very bottom of the bag is a potion of superior healing.
Hmm. Not bad.
To anyone but Mordecai, considering it probably won't work on him.
I'm set.
So, I think regular healing, and I'm willing to give the potion of regular healing to somebody in exchange for the potion of superior healing. Because I was talking to Mordecai earlier, and I don't know where everybody else was, but it was just happened to be us, about how we're getting kicked around in combat a little, and we've kind of decided that actually I'm pretty hard to hit, and so we should probably let me take some of the. I mean, it sounds silly, but we should probably let me stand up in front because I'm probably actually the toughest out of all of us because I have so many magic buffs and I'm little and I can dodge things really well. So in case I could get booped, and in case I get booped, I'll want to have the good potion.
Yep, no, I can agree with that, but
Celine, you're pretty hard to hit too, aren't you?
yeah, no, I'm an AC 18 when I got my shield out.
As long as she doesn't provoke a dragon's breath, then yeah, she's pretty good.
Yeah, just don't ask me to make dex saves.
18 is pretty good. So maybe I can give the other one to Celine. Would that be okay? Because you can also cast it if you need to.
Yeah, I can also cast healing spells, although as you are aware, I would very much like to conserve my slots for more damaging magic, as that is where the bulk of the damage comes from. So
yeah, well, I think that'll work out great then.
alright, well then we'll do that.
All right.
So I will get a potion of healing and get a potion of superior.
Okay.
All right. I just hope that, you don't get hit with a sledgehammer or something and tempered glass doesn't exist yet. All right. Well,
I'll keep it in my padded pocket where I keep my spell book. It's right into the side of my dress.
in a show of good faith, the supposed I guess the heir of the Flowerfield mansion and fortune and responsibilities, Ripol Flowerfield, has sent along this care package to you all. Is delivered right to your door, and you had to break the seal and everything. So there are things for you.
I'm actually really excited to see how that potion of growth gets used. Because I mean, there are a lot of large bipeds that you can make yourself look like.
You brought up a very good point, because Alter Self can only work within your. If you're medium, you can do, I think, only medium, not even small. And so yeah.
Plus or minus a foot.
Okay. So yeah, now if you're large size, well, I mean, not that just even a large jade might be really cool too.
Yeah. Celine would honestly be slightly terrified of a large jade.
If it was a reduced potion, I would want it. But it's not.
You'd make yourself tinier?
Yeah.
Go to tiny size.
Bright pocket.
I'd just be a foot tall. It would be so cute. I'd weigh 5 pounds.
You just put her in your pocket and carry her around.
I
can't imagine you any smaller, Bright.
She'd be like Yoda in Luke's backpack.
Pretty much. Almost like that now.
Oh, no.
That's right. She's points her finger over your shoulder, and like you're a turret. You just got to turn in the right direction for her to pew pew. Or you just use her as a wand. If she's only a foot, you could just like use her as a wand and just like project her out at people.
That seems a little demeaning.
We're used to it.
She'll just tell you how to properly pronounce Leviosa. So.
Yeah. We're cute people. We're used to this sort of thing.
All right, so baths are available. Jade, if you still wanted to go for a walk, you're certainly welcome to do so. But it sounds like at least Bright and Mordecai were savoring the warm water or the whatever the hospitality that this reserved section of the Tumbled Wench is for.
I'm playing with my frog in the tub.
Oh, all right. He slowly doesn't realize the water's getting warmer. Norlai, what are you doing?
I think I'll take a bath with, not with, but as the others are.
Sure. Celine? Are you also being catered to? Are you getting your nails done here?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so.
Then Jade, for sure. What are you doing? Because I don't want to presume.
She's hiding out in the stables.
Okay. He and Haw are out in the stables. So, and there's myriad other horses. Well, they're not horses; they're donkeys. But there's other beasts of burden that are hanging out in the stables too. And there's a very earnest stable boy who he doesn't mind you being in there because he has to muck out the stables anyway and scoop all the poop. So he's there working, and the evening continues to pass. If there's not an immediate goal, then am I missing anything? Did you still need to collude or arrange something, do a ritual, or are we... Where are we with the evening? Nothing?
Mordecai was actually going to go try and find a shrine to his god.
And which one was that again?
I don't think I ever named it, but Luna, the goddess of the moon.
Sure. I'm sure given the high tiefling population here, we can presume that this is a popular, or at least a popular among your people, deity. And, I mean, unless we're talking, if you thought this is like a clandestine, like, you know, the god or goddess of thieves and assassins or like weird, like undercover stuff. Otherwise, if it's of the moon and the night and the, you know, whatever,
And protection.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. You'll find a place of that out here.
Okay. Cool. So I just want to talk to Norlai for just a minute after we're both all clean and scrubbed.
Sure. You have privacy. You can do so.
So, Miss Norlai, I have a couple of questions. First, so when you soak in a tub, do your horns get soft?
No.
I thought maybe they would. The second question is, I've been thinking a lot about things recently, and I've started to think that maybe once we find Tibba, we should go and look for your brother next.
Well, that's what you guys said we were doing, so that's what I thought we were doing.
Yeah, I just, to tell you that I've been thinking about it more, and I'm starting to realize that it has more meaning. It's going to be meaningful for all of us, not just for you. So I want you to know that we're all going to be in it together. That So, remember the other day how you went and got me a little bit of a breakfast?
Yeah, because you were doing something up here.
Yeah, I had to practice my magic. So, so for gnomes, I don't know if it's like this for your people, but for our people, so we have money, but there's more to it than that, because we like to keep track of who does favors for each other. It's like a kind of like a shadow kind of a money, or like backup money, so to speak. So I want you to know that because you did that for me, that means that now I have a little, and so that means that you can now ask me to do things for you too, and I will. I'm happy to do it. And then it'll be like a little gnome tradition. Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, that sounds okay. Especially because I don't have any money. So if I need things...
Okay. In that case, that's all. I just wanted to say these things.
Okay. So
Goodbye.
you have this this girl to girl talk here. You are building bridges, one favor at a time. Mordecai, you find a it's not exactly like a grand cathedral out here, but it's more of it's a smaller shrine. It can hold maybe a dozen people comfortably, but it's more smaller. It's meant to reflect on the moon. There's going to be some mirrors inside that will capture the moon as it passes overhead. Various statues. None of them seem to have particularly detailed features. That way you can project your own thoughts or images. You can see yourself as a statue in a particular part, in a particular pose, or it's really meant to be a place for you to find. I'll say solace, but that's SOL like the sun. So I guess I'll say you can find some lunacy or even some lunacy. How about that? You can find some lunacy here.
We've got that in spades.
Yeah. What would you like to do in this personal time?
Just basically kind of reaching out and see if, for whatever reason, if the goddess is still listening, and because he hasn't been very devout in like the last 10 years at least, and so just kind of reaching out and seeing if there's something to it, and just spending some time ruminating.
Okay, you can have some self-reflection. Does she hear you in your current state? Do you have to be alive to pray? Do gods answer undead? Just because you think, are you, you could bring up moral questions, philosophical questions. There's all sorts of things here that you can continue to delve into, but
those are all kinds of things on his mind right now.
There is, over the course of your time praying, there is an older tiefling woman that also comes in, and she begins her own silent prayers. And after a while, she looks over at you, and she says, I haven't seen you in here before. Is something that is troubling you to bring you to this place?
Yeah, I've traveled through Sanamfi a couple times, but never really stayed very long. Just kind of trying to reconnect, I guess.
No. Well, the beautiful part about our moon goddess is that you don't need a shrine like this. All you have to do is look up and... I'm sorry, did you say it was a she? Right? Is it a lunar goddess, or was it... Okay.
Yes.
All right. All you have to do is look up and she's there. This can just help you contain your thoughts, I suppose.
Yeah. Maybe... She doesn't look like she's clergy or anything, does she?
Not offhand. She's dressed in, I guess, what you consider like common clothes, or sort of like the equivalent of a Sunday dress. It's nicer. She's not going to a noble's gala or anything, but it's quaint, respectable dress.
Okay. Yeah, just spending some time and seeing if she'll speak to me.
Yep, she'll tell you about her kids and her grandkids, and she'll tell you,
No, I was more meaning saying that to the woman.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I do want to have some. Not that I don't want to develop a personal conversation. Maybe we could do that inside roleplay, but I do want to make sure I get to everyone here with the time that we have available. But she'll engage with you. I mean, you're not killing her. And she seems to be rather open-minded. And look, anytime you're in a church, you just do what the old lady does in the front. If she stands up, you stand up. If she kneels, she kneels. It's the unwritten law of going to church. You do what the old lady in the front pews do. So you'll have this conversation, and maybe we could do that in some side role play if you really want to explore something, or you want to have if you want to use her in her own way as a mirror for your questions or your philosophies, much like what the statues are, except she might actually be able to answer some questions. Will that work for you?
Sure.
Okay.
There is also someone else you can talk to if you would like Mordecai. Once you get back from the church.
Hint, hint. Let me jump over to Jade. Jade, you're hanging out in the stall, and the stable boy there is doing a pretty good job. He looks over his shoulder every once in a while at you, not necessarily in a judging fashion, but just more like, are you still here? Not asking you, but just checking. And through the rhythm of what it takes to, to scoop out all the used hay and to refill things and to make sure the troughs are handled and that the horses are brushed and even he and Haw get a little bit of attention. He stops for a moment, and you see he goes to the front, the front door of the stalls here next to the tumbled wench, and you just hear him say, "Whoa!" If you choose to react. Something seems to have him enthralled.
She does look up.
Oh, hey, we're being raided. Thank you very much, Margaret Crone. So Control Alt Frank, Paladin Hulk, Margaret, Quiet Geek. Thank you all for coming over here. Love Song for Cats. I like that name. But thank you very much for the raid, and welcome to the story. Jade, as you glance up, you can see that passing underneath the lantern light outside of the stables is a horse person? No, not necessarily. A cow person? Yeah, a bipedal bovine of some kind is walking past the stables toward the tumbled wench.
Jade kind of ends up looking towards this thing and starts to kind of wonder as though it's something that's taking her mind off of the troubles that are currently plaguing it. Those little whispers and confusions as to who, what, where, what she is at this point. These twisting and turning emotions that will just, let's simply leave it at a fractured psyche is hard enough, but without the added confusion, even if everything went according to plan and didn't at the same time, it did, and it didn't work out. That's how it was supposed to be. So she starts to, with a very large slump, kind of barely carry herself, almost as though another thing, something invisible, some force is puppeteering the body as she takes one step in front of the other, just walking, following, not even sure why.
Are you choosing to follow the creature, or are you going to go up to where the stable boy is kind of hanging over the side of the, like an open, like a window or something at this, on the street?
She'll simply approach it. As she walks past the stable boy, she might require so much effort just to have her eyes go to meet him in some point of concern as she walks up towards this thing. And I imagine this thing's absolutely huge, like probably an 8-foot tall creature.
Very large. And this stable boy, as you're kind of carrying yourself or almost being carried, as you said, just looks over at you. No judgment at all. No questions. He accepts you as you are right now and just looks at you and says, "Do you see that thing? I haven't seen something like that around here." And it's like a cow person.
like a cow person. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But it's more rude to gawk and to look and to... The eyes won't stop looking no matter how strange it gets. So it just gets stranger in the eye.
Oh.
It's a stranger in my eye.
I think that you're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have been looking. But No, I have a job to do. Someday I'm going to run this stable, and I can't let things like this distract me. Thank you. And he kind of straightens himself up, dusts off a little bit of like hay and whatever that's on him, and goes back to work. And he tells you that if you need anything, he's here.
6 feet of rope. She just starts walking out.
Like he starts looking around, like I don't know if and then you walk out as he's taking note of whatever inventory's around him. The bull person turns and enters into the tumbled wench. By this point, it's 9 o'clock. Definitely the sun's been down. The night's getting colder, and this thing just walks right in. Inside, there's a couple startled "whoa" sounds.
Jade walks in, probably not more than a few steps behind, truthfully.
Okay.
She might even make the crude attempt at a joke as she looks up from beneath her bangs up at this thing. Simply ends up saying, "Don't worry, they react like that to me all the time. It's normal around here."
The bull person turns, gives a bit of a snort down at you. "It seems that I am the focus of attention. But that is why I have come here." If you wish to give a reply, you may.
Why is that, large one? Does
I...
it have a name?
Oh, yes, it is called music. I have come to play my music.
Jade looks around and looking at the plants, looking for some elements of what the lord of the Tybalt's household earlier described, showing that they tend to change color around, and just looking for any indicators. She looks at this as its method of speech seems all too familiar.
Okay. There is nothing more peculiar than seeing a bull person walk in looking to play music. Is glowing, shining, becoming apparent.
I wish I could play music. I'm supposed to, but I can't. I cannot, and it is infuriating. The gift went to the wrong person, you see.
A gift of what?
It's at this point Jade, with a heavy hand, pulls out the harmonica at her side and just kind of leaves her palm open, holding it.
Oh.
She even looks down at
it. It gets down, and you can feel the warmth, as he's breathing, like out of his big nostrils, like like this warm, humid air. That is, harmonica.
Yes. Yes, it is. And they can be quite beautiful, I'm told.
Will you play with me?
Why not? You can't be any worse than I.
And kind of like snorts and huffs, and you get like a big right on on the back, like a big. I mean, not to tumble you over. He's not attacking you, but you're definitely getting.
No, but Jade at this point has no center of balance.
Oh, okay. So you
face first right into the floor. And this is not. This is not
yes, you do.
Nice bit. This is a like when she stands up, her nose is clearly broken and bleeding.
Okay. Yeah. He tries to catch you, and oh, I did not mean to hurt you. He takes like his big, I guess he'd have 4 fingers, I think. And he kind of like, no, not again. I did not mean to hurt you.
Jade, with a blood-covered hand, which her nose is going quite a bit, more like a faucet coming out, dripping along her mouth, her chin, places it on his hand and pulls it away from his snout, and looks up at him. I don't mean to hurt people either.
No.
It happens. It's what we do. We can't help it.
That is why I play music. I've been told what I am. That I have a big mood.
Maybe. Perhaps then we can play awfully together and make your music.
This creature who tells you that you can call him DJ for short, as it would be difficult to pronounce his real name. Looks to the like the night manager on duty, who is very open to allowing you to, as long as this. As long as no more accidents happen, you can go on stage and play. We don't have anyone lined up tonight. If you said something, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Quite all right. Jade simply does as she'll do her best, but it's probably going to be like 1, maybe 2 notes she can control and hopefully keep some kind of rhythm to keep up with them. It's bad. It's horrible. It's a shame to the practice of barding, is what it is. And it's angry.
All right. So you're getting up and you're venting yourself through here, and it would seem that this bull person, definitely no native to Mesomasca, let alone Mesotopia, hears you and kind of flicks an ear, and he starts kind of stomping one of his hoof feet, and he reaches up, and where he has a collar, he pulls it off, and he pulls a rag out of a bell that was around his neck. And so, I think I'm going to be getting a DM here soon. And as you're playing, as you are, he takes this bell, and you just hear gunk, 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 and so here you are. I mean, you're hitting a harmonica. He's hitting a cowbell, and he's stomping his hoof. And give me oh, you already did it. All right. So Jade, as you're playing and you're putting yourself, your mood, your thoughts into music. With a high level of performance like that, and with this and with the backup cowbell that you have going on with you too, from this large creature that seemingly hurts people too where he goes, but also just wants to make music, never being able to fit in where he belongs. The atmosphere, the dining quiets down, and people are paying attention. It's not like something they're used to. It's not the merrymaking of minstrels that have traveled the lands and are singing bawdy tunes, or telling crude limericks or anything like that. I mean, this is just pure music without any really known rhyme or reason. It's just what is being felt by you and your impromptu friend named DJ. And as you play, the atmosphere takes on a blue color, almost like a thaumaturgy is being invoked, where the flames of the candles and the oil lamps and all this, all the flames start turning blue as you're playing.
Now, to be clear, any form of invocation we've earlier stated is not considered a casting of a spell.
That is correct, because that's going to be intrinsic to you. So it'd be kind of like a spell-like ability in this case. I don't believe I had you roll for invocations, because it's who you are, really. Okay, so with that, as you look around, you can see that I'd have to look it up. The air is filled with magic, and it seems to be just a gentle swirl, and it's passing through all of the lights that are in this place, and it's just creating a mood. With the low blue candles, and people are watching on stage.
Jade, along with DJ, more DJs keeping the rhythm, and Jade just continues to stumble her way through it as best she can, maybe trying to experiment throwing in a third note in there. It seems to hit the scale, but it is a very slow performance, almost reads like an SOS in some cases. But she just focuses on the playing because she doesn't want to focus on the eyes that are looking at her, the eyes that are looking at DJ, the two freaks, things that shouldn't be here. But no, she has to continue playing because this is how it plays out. It's what he would have done. He would have played so much better. He always played better.
So the evening continues on as you're pouring yourself through this harmonica, and to his effect, this whatever he is, he's definitely a good percussionist, and he even starts giving some guttural, some very guttural, almost like would be the equivalent to maybe some kind of almost like some kind of like a gospel, kind of a ooh. Yeah, hey, there you go. So you
Won't
got
you
tink.
take me over another year?
Ooh. And he's backing you up too. And where he can, he joins you. And where you part, you find your way back together again as well. As you are shifting, you're also harmonizing. You know, things are coming and going. And you're holding everyone here really in awe. Though, because of your Eldritch Sight, this isn't enchantment magic. This isn't, you know, I'm dominating their minds and making them love me. This is nothing of that sort. And after a while, you're gonna feel a more gentle, large four-fingered hand on your shoulder that gently taps you. It was good to play with you. I was moved by it. Thank you. Ooh.
And you, DJ. And he drank, smile, laugh. Let their eyes fall on you with a peace. Not like pieces. Not anymore. Jig kind of just starts to stand and gripping the harmonica with what little strength in her arm there is. Tight, angry grip. Starts to walk away. Just get away from people for a minute. And perhaps she'll go back to the stables, her room, she's not sure which is more appropriate. She's still a horse.
Are you externalizing that question back to yourself, or?
Yes, no. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Okay. All right. Now, for those of you who were not down in the dining and performing area, even those of you who are, you know, you're studying, you're reading, you're playing with your Pokemon, you know, even Celine, Jock, or Jack, because we're going with the Jack pronunciation, not Jacques. Jack even manifests, and he perks his ears up in his blue fox form, and he turns an even sort of like a deeper, like a midnight blue in color, and he seems to be just moved. He might even be crying. And this is definitely not, I mean, not that you've been friends for the past 50 years or anything, but I mean, for someone who's kind of snarky, kind of a, you know, I'm here to watch through your eyes and all that. He's really taking this in. And he looks at you. Do you feel that? Do you feel that? In fact, I can't even say it's something you hear. I'd like to take over a moment. He actually asked you for permission. I'll presume that's a yes. For Celine, yeah. Okay. You're fine. You're eating. I know. Celine's like, whatever. I'm just. And your eyes. I mean, not that you're visible of him, but you know he's there, and you can feel, and there's just a. It's not a feeling of despair and sadness per se, but it's definitely a feeling of release, a feeling of it's like a letting go, a purging, but not towards like some, you know, spiraling, you know, black horror awaiting you in some, you know, forgotten hell or something. It's just it's a catharsis. And and Jack, you know, within you is kind of like twitching your ears, and you can even feel now, Celine, like they're your tears, but they might be Jack's tears or something. But you even feel yourself weeping a little bit because of this mood. And you all even up in the penthouse suite here. It doesn't affect your lighting as much. But you do notice that everything kind of has taken on a very, like, your candles are kind of a very light blue in color. And hey, no one's running around screaming, or, you know, the place isn't on fire, but something odd has definitely happened this evening. Yes, to that. By the time you would have spent some time speaking with the old lady, Mordecai, so you could come back towards the end of the performance on stage, between DJ and Jade, and so you would have seen that the room has taken on. You would almost like chameleon blend right in with the type of blue that's going on here. You know, it'd be a very natural, like a Mordecai blue. Because you're a darker sort of blue, aren't you? Or you're not like a very vivid, like a cornflower or periwinkle or something?
I'm periwinkle with navy hair.
Okay, so then it would be more like your hair's color then. More like a dark navy color. All right. And so you catch it, and then, of course, on stage, there's Jade, who's playing... I mean, in the consideration of the bards and the colleges who teach, what she's playing isn't music. At least not in the traditional sense. The old musical masters would be rolling in their graves. But what she's doing, especially as a bard, is giving that effect. It is, she's manifesting something that it's herself that's just being projected, let alone whatever. Is that a bull person? You've never seen anything like that before. And yet everyone here is just sort of in awe, and you can see that a lot of them just sort of have tears coming down their cheeks, but at the same time they're not crying into their cups. They almost seem to be happy or like relieved, but that relief is unlocked with the tears that are coming down their cheeks from this performance. And then they reach their conclusion, and people, you know, the lights return to normal, and everyone's just sort of sitting there, and, you know, it starts off with and then, you know, people start clapping wholeheartedly, from a little, you know, we get that epic movie golf clap, you know, or the slow clap. Later on, we'll...
applauding.
And so, I mean, Jade, if you know, looking around, there's Mordecai just in the doorway as well. I mean, DJ said that he's moving on, and apparently the kitchen's giving him a bucket of like turnip greens and a lot of other, you know, like the stuff that they don't normally use. But he'll take it all off their hands, and we got a bunch of carrot tops and all this other stuff. We'll give you for your performance. Both win. He thanks you, and he says that it's time for him to be on the move again and to hit the road. So he is all too happy to just sort of walk off into the night, leaving you back in the Tumbled Wench.
Broken nose, bloodied face, and harmonica in hand. A very odd and strange individual, DJ. But appreciated nevertheless.
The sanguine bard.
So at this point, Jade just looks to Mordecai for a second, and almost like you can almost hear like a silent growl in her throat. Or maybe she just needed to clear her throat. You're not sure. And she starts to walk up to her room, just droplets of blood just, on the stairs as she ends up making her way up.
Mordecai's not sure how to interact with Jade. He has a thought to ask her if she needs help with her nose, but thinks better of it and just goes to his room as well.
Okay. In this case then, unless I missed anything specific, again, if you are doing any ritual stuff or the like, you are going to get a full night's rest. And during the night, certainly not as intense as the nightmare that you had prior, you are visited by another vision. And what we'll do is I'll give you this vision, and then we will conclude tonight's session with the prompt for what will happen next. Each of you, as you settle down into your nice, big, comfy beds, with all the blankets you could hope for, or all the pillows. I mean, Bright, if you want to make a pillow fort and sleep in that, you could do that. There's plenty of them here. But as you sleep, you're walking through a peaceful grassland. The grass is as green as emeralds. Birds can be seen picking at the ground for seeds and insects. It is a nightmare, Bright. There is grass as far as the eye can see. As the dreamer walks, something yellow catches his or her eye. Amongst the brilliant green is a small spot of dead yellow grass. As you watch, the yellow grass continues to wither further and further, and in the center of the patch, a small green sprout grows. It grows about a foot up and blooms into a bright red flower. The grass around the flower begins to die, and more red flowers bloom until red is all you can see. You're now surrounded by a sea of red flowers. The flowers start to rise up, all facing you, centered on you, growing, and still growing until they overshadow you. The sky is nowhere to be seen beyond the red petals that surround you. The flowers, perhaps rustling in the breeze for a moment, suddenly surge forward as if to strike. And right before the first petal can tickle or tear the tip of your nose, you wake up. Now, this is a shared dream in a meta conversation that you all had. But you are not, you're not dead. Well, sorry, that's culturally insensitive, Mordecai. Most of you. You're only mostly dead. You will wake up. There is a day ahead of you. There are no missives or requests that have been slid under the door. And it does seem to be a nice bright day out, with, in fact, birds chirping, flowers growing in pots and along the walls of Snam Phi. The smell of wonderful food is wafting through the place. In fact, I'll even say that this time, if you don't want, they can send up food to your suite in a dumbwaiter, so you don't even have to be plebeian and walk downstairs yourself to the common dining area. As well, in the face of the interactions you've had and the stresses and strains and the unusual conditions that have been affecting your bodies, you all may also level up for the next session. as your bodies continue to grow and your minds sharpen at a very, very supernatural pace. So something is happening to you, perhaps for the positive, but you feel yourselves growing and growing in mind and in body. Inspiration seems to come easier. The world maybe makes a bit more sense, even if it is only causing more questions. Dark Wolf. And, oh, hey, Memory Lapse. I'm sorry that I missed you coming in here. Hello, Victor. And if anyone else snuck in here, too. But, yep, you are level 6. So, congrats on that. You're gonna need it.
This actually kind of ties in pretty well with my ideas for side roleplay, Matty. So if we want to do that.
Yep, we can certainly we can do that. Or in fact, because I know lethality, that you gotta scamper here in a couple minutes to get your game set up for in about an hour. I mean, first dibs here. If you all want to have some table talk, talk about your spells or whatever, that's fine. Or Coffee Cat, we can do some side role play here, or we can do it text based in our channel. Which any of you who are at our Discord, you can also read along the side role play that the characters do, if you want the kind of the director's cut of what's happening here on Tuesdays.
I mean, I can go either way.
Okay.
So, how much of the performance would Norlai and I have heard?
Well, let's see. I mean, for the most part, you were relaxing. I mean, you were playing with your frog Bright, and Norlai was playing with her winged snake. So with Peggy Sue and Yori, respectively. I don't know if you would have really been able to catch the entirety of the performance, but definitely, maybe some of the percussion and the general mood just barely would have been tinting the air here, just as the blue was slightly tinting the flames, the candles and the oil lamps that are in your room.
Well,
Was that helpful? Okay.
Just wanted to know.